Alright, if you want me to be completely honest, I don't know why I'm making this video, because I absolutely hate this thing. And it's really ironic, because I actually have a rank 2 Bastiodon for Great League. It's just, I don't like Bastiodon just because of the fact that it's super tap tap tap, and that there's skill to play it in certain strategies, but for the most strategies, it's been used for the infamous grass hole line. Or you've seen it get punched down to death, or it's either you've taken down like every flyer in existence because of it. So, enter Bastiodon. Here's Bastiodon. It's rock and steel. It's a super tank. It's literally it's a super tank of Great League. This thing, it has, I think, the highest defense product of Great League, minus Deoxys defense, I believe, or like close to Deoxys defense. So they have very close like defense products. But what makes it super impressive is its typing. Bastiodon is a flyer's worst nightmare. It's rock and steel typing. You know what that means? It resists flying ×2. Also normal attacks ×2. So if you catch a body slam with this thing, guess what? You're a G, because you know what? It works. It also resists poison, bug, dragon, fairy, ice, psychic, and rock. It has a ton of resistances. Unfortunately, Bastiodon has also been yeeted to the next dimension and KO'd numerous times by fighters, ground type users, and if you wet it with water, it dies. So that's the thing about Bastiodon. Bastiodon, and combined with its moveset, it has Smackdown, Stone Edge, Flash Cannon, Flamethrower. So it actually has a somewhat like, with Stone Edge and Flamethrower, not only do you get stabbed with Stone Edge, but with Flamethrower, you're also able to cover some of you have coverage. So it's really interesting how it works. It's just, yeah, you have coverage against a lot of like steel types. With Stone Edge, you cover down, like I said, you take down those flyers. Ice types die really quickly, and basically, if Bastiodon has a positive matchup against something, it's not good for you. Unless it's a fighter, then you probably want to get out of there if you're the Bastiodon user. But like I said, you've either killed this thing numerous times, or you've been, like me and many other battlers, taken down by it's infamously known by many names. You've been taken down by Wallface, a tank, a lot. It has been the memes and the like bane of existence, and just a lot of people just don't like it. But you know, at level 50, Bastiodon actually becomes even more powerful. Wait, what? Yes, at level 50, Bastiodon becomes even more of a nuisance to the Great League meta. So Bastiodon level 50, actually, I don't even have to look for it. Look, it's like right here. It's in the top. It's in the top 10. Level 50 literally jumps Bastiodon to the top 10. As you see, remember I told you about those positive matchups? It gets even worse. As you see here, Bastiodon absolutely wrecks even more what you usually beat with Bastiodon. Now, Bastiodon is really iffy to play as well, because Bastiodon is prone to getting, as you see, like as its key losses here, it is getting prone to getting countered down by pseudo-counter users as well as fighters, so you have to avoid fighters. You must also avoid Galarian Stunfisk, because G-Fisk is Bastiodon's worst nightmare. A lot of the reason why people run Pancakes is not only because the Pancake is really good, but also because one Earthquake will yeet this Bastiodon to the next dimension. You also lose against the Mirror in level 40 Bastiodon, which is really ironic, but that's the one shield. We'll go over this in the Matrix. And of course, Azu. Now you can kill Azu, I believe, with shield advantage, but don't quote me on there, we'll figure it out. But as you see, Bastiodon level 50 in Great League, actually XL, is in the top 10. Now, it's a comparable improvement from its cousin. As you see, it jumps a whole 22 ranks. And it's just nuts at how strong it is. Like, it's a huge upgrade. A huge upgrade at level 50. Now, do you want to spend the dust or the candy to use a Bastiodon? I don't know, it's up to you. The Elite Bastiodon XL ranks at number 65. A lot of people will use Bastiodon in Elite because, like I said, if you do get a positive match with it and lock it into a flyer, etc., it's going to kill you. Just putting it out there. If you have no coverage move, it's going to kill you. As a closer, Bastiodon is in its strongest position. As you see, Bastiodon is able to close out a lot of matches, especially if you line it up with its positive matchups. Of course, you're going to lose against fighters, ground types, and water types, so as long as you avoid that, Bastiodon is going to go to town against a lot of matchups. And as a switch, Bastiodon is absolutely horrible. You don't want to use Bastiodon as a switch. The reason being is because if you throw a Bastiodon into someone and they have a fighter in back or a G-Fisk, you are dead. Or it's very likely you will die. So do not use Bastiodon as a switch. However, Bastiodon overall is in the top 10 and it's extremely powerful at level 50. How powerful? We'll take a look at it in the Matrix. Alright, as you see here, we have the Matrix. If you'd like to donate to PPoke, please do. This open source website is one of the greatest things in existence, and it really helps me and other battlers and anyone else that's a great analyst or just trying to get into the game a good resource to use to become the best battler that no one ever was. Anyways, Bastiodon here, we have Bastiodon at level 50. This is what I love about the Matrix. You can put multiple things and just compare. Here's a level 50 Bastiodon, as you see here, and here's a level 40 Bastiodon right here. Now, you'll see there are intricate differences between the 50 and the 40 because that attack that Bastiodon has at level 40 actually matters. So you're in the simulator. Here you go. As you see here, they generally will beat most of everything in the same thing. As you see in the 2 shield, you actually beat your mirror cousin if it's not a level 50. So you actually beat Bastiodon in mirror. Who wants to see a Bastiodon mirror? I don't. But you know what? If you do happen to get into it and you get into mirror Bastiodon, guess what? As long as you're 50, they're 40, you'll win that matchup. You take down Charmers, of course. You're going to take down Cresselia, Deoxys defense, and a good general, overall, overview of Bastiodon getting destroyed is if it's a fighter, if it's a ground type, if it's a pseudo fighter, or if it wets you with water, you're dead. That's basically the synopsis with it. If they don't have a water type attack or a water charge move that can KO you, Bastiodon's gonna win. That's just the basic synopsis of it. You're not going to be too fancy with Bastiodon, because what happens with Bastiodon is Bastiodon just either taps you down, drops you with a bunch of rocks at Stone Edge, shoots a laser beam at you with Flash Cannon, or it burns everything you know and love with a flamethrower. So there you go. There's Bastiodon. Anyways, Bastiodon does take out flyers, like I said. It even beats Ferrothorn. As you see, you get an even stronger matchup with the level 51 versus the level 41 just because you have that extra bulk. You take down a good number of the meta, only losing to fighters. You also lose to some grass. Well, actually, so the reason why you lose against Meganium is this, because Meganium has Earthquake. Remember I was talking about those charge moves? Meganium does have that Earthquake, so it's going to Earthquake you down, as you see here, and you will be pressured to shield because one Earthquake alone does 89 damage, so half of Bastiodon's health. So that's why Meganium does beat you in the 2s. You also lose against Melmetal. Melmetal, anything that also has a fighting type of attack, it will beat you. Melmetal does resist your smackdowns. It also hits you with superpower, sits super hard, so you want to be careful of that. As you see, the level 50 variant in the 2 shield will beat Mew with the Flame Charge. I'm not sure if it beats Surf, so let's take a look at that real quick. So this is the Flame Charge Mew variant. If it's the Surf Mew, that's the beautiful thing about the PvPoke.com analysis. If it's Surf Mew, Bastiodon still wins. So, wow. So if it's Surf Mew, Bastiodon wins every shield scenario except when you have shield advantage. So just yeah. So yeah. So 0-2. Wow. Level 50 Bastiodon is annoying. You beat Munchlax, you lose against Obstagoon, you'll lose against Registeel too. So another thing to add about Bastiodon getting beat, if what's your target resists your smackdowns, like per se Registeel or Melmetal, you will lose against it. Also, Registeel has Focus Blast, so all it's going to do is just blast you to death. Of course, you're going to lose in Scrafty. You're going to lose in Stunfisk because those Mud Bombs will hurt, as well as the G-Fisk is your worst nightmare. Swampert because it's water, Hydro Cannons will destroy you, and Toxicroak. Now, Vigoroth also beats you as well as Wishcast. So, there's a lot of things that you beat, but if you take a look at these ratings against what you're positive against, you destroy Venusaur, you absolutely annihilate Shadow Victory Ball, you have a strong matchup against Tropius, it's pretty nuts. And you actually flip the Zweilous matchup in the 2 shield. Yeah, in the 2 shield, you'll actually flip the Zweilous matchup at level 50. So at level 50, there are some matchups that Bastiodon will flip. Most notably Zweilous, its cousin, and some other few things like Mew. Like, a Surf Mew dies to a level 50 Bastiodon. In normal circumstances, it does not. Alright, we saw the 2 shield, now here's the 1 shield. 1 shield, it gets a little more interesting, because you actually flip things you actually lose against. Now, in the 1 shield, you absolutely obliterate, of course, flyers, ice types, etc. You're gonna lose against Chestnut, because that superpower hurts, so keep that in mind. Also, you pretty much lose against ground fighters, like I said before, but you do flip some matchups. So, notable matchups you do flip in the 1 shield is Meganium. You actually beat Meganium in the 1 shield, and Munchlax actually beats you in the 1 shield because you don't have that bulk. So Munchlax is going to hit that Bulldoze. If you call the Bulldoze, you're okay. If you don't call the Bulldoze, you die. It's that simple. So this is a bait dependent matchup, I think. So here, let's double check. So if we were in the simulator, you get the Munchie. If you shield, let's see, don't shield the body slam, so don't shield the bait. If you don't shield the bait, no, that's the stone edge, that's your move. So if you don't shield this attack, but shield. Wow, get to a second. It actually gets to a second bulldoze. Yeah, Bastiodon wins. So this is a bait dependent matchup. So as long as you call the bulldoze you'll be okay. So just keep that in mind with Munchlax. Other than that, you convincingly win with the other variant just because Stone Edge sucks. Or Stone Edge hurts. So you lose against, of course you're going to lose against those ground types, those fighters. You do beat Venusaur in the 1 shield still. So the 1 shield, you do lose it with level 40. With level 50, you do still win the Venusaur matchup in the 1 shield. And as you see, you pretty much lose against the same things you usually lose against. In the zeros, things do change. The lead and the closer are Bastiodon's best positions. As you see in the closer, this is the 0 shield. So I'm gonna run again just in case. Okay. So as you see in the 0 shields, not too much of a titanical difference. As you see, every matchup is generally the same as the the zeros. If you're gonna run Bastiodon, look in your 2 and 1 shield scenario, because if you're in the zeros against like ground types, Vigoroth, etc., you're going to lose. And as you see, the dominant matchups you have, those ratings are very close. Unless there's a really close one. Hold on, let me take a look. Let's see, 700, 800. No, you pretty much if you wall whatever's in the closer, unless they have like energy lead or you have chip damage, you should be able to dominate that matchup in the closer. So there's not much of a difference. So pretty easy to use. Now, if it has shield advantage in the 1 to 0s, what happens? If you have shields, you actually beat a Azumarill. You have a very strong matchup against a Azumarill. So as you see here, if you're in the 1 to 0s, the level 51 will destroy a Azumarill, sadly. So you can flip the Azumarill matchup. You also flip several other matchups. Let's see. You convincingly win against Meganium. You also convincingly win against Snorlax. And I think that's it. Other than that, every other matchup pretty much pressures you enough to where you'll lose convincingly. So that's the 1 to 0s. I've seen the 1 to 0s. Being able to beat Azu is huge. Having a comfortable matchup against Azu in level 50 is even better. In the 2 to 0s, Bastiodon destroys a lot of things. Only losing to Diggersby. Shadow Champ actually beats you down in the zeros with level 50. I guess this is the only time where level 50 is kind of a huge liability, is that if you're in the 2 to 0, if you're in the 2 to 0s, you're gonna still lose against Shadow Champ. Just because Shadow counter damage is so oppressive. You're gonna lose against fighters, Medchamp, Scrafty. You also lose against Stunfist, Ground, and Toxicroak. Basically, hard counter matchups you don't win in the first place anyway. So, like I said, ground, fighting, water, anything with a charge of water or resist those counter or resist your smackdowns, you will lose most likely. In the 2 to 1, so this is where you have shield advantage in the 2 to 1 scenario. It's basically like the 1 shield. Or the 1 to 0s, to be honest with you. Or not really, yeah, not really the 1 to 0s and like the 1 shield basically. You'll lose against Azumarill, lose against Chestnut, Diggersby, Deoxys, Shadow Champ, Medicham. This is interesting. So in the 2 to 1s with shield advantage, you actually beat Obstagoon. So you can beat Obstagoon in the 2 to 1s. And there's not many. And so in the 2 to 1s, you also beat Vigoroth. So if you get into 2 to 1, you can flip some counter matchups with the level 50 Bastiodon, which is pretty nuts. You beat Vigoroth. You also are able to flip. What's the other hard fighter matchup that you can flip with it? Actually, I think that and Obstagoon. So Obstagoon and Vigoroth, 2 pseudo counter users, you are able to flip that matchup in the 2 to 1s, which is huge because you have, if you know that, you can try to manipulate the battle to where everything goes right here and then are to the 2 to 1s. So keep that in mind. But as you see, Bastiodon incredibly powerful. With level 50, it's able to pick up matchups. You do lose, but I would say it's more of a benefit than a loss from level 50 versus level 40. Level 50 does in fact make Bastiodon much more beastly than it is at level 40. And much more annoying than its level 40 counterpart. Alright, so I give Bastiodon an 8 out of 10. It's just that good. The normal version, I give like a 7. The issue with Bastiodon is that there's a lot of counter fighter users running around. However, as you saw, there are chances for Bastiodon to take those matchups at level 50. Alright, so let's see. In the 2 to, as you see in the 1 shield at level 40, it's able to beat 86% of the matchup. So it has a lot of good play. It is getting, you can be prone to counter down plays, so Bastiodon can be a liability. However, the good thing about Bastiodon, it's actually really easy to use. As you see, level 50 even makes it even more oppressive. So it's very, like I said, it's very easy to use. If you get a positive matchup with it, you have a very convincing matchup. So, example, if you get Altara into Bastiodon, you're probably going to die 9 times out of 10, unless it already has chip damage or it's literally about to die. You're gonna die if it's semi-healthy or if it's like 70% healthy. But Bastiodon is incredibly powerful. As you see, level 50 Bastiodon, as you see here with the IVs, it's still super oppressive. In a 2-shield, Bastiodon wins 74% of the matchups, and it's easy to play. It's a good beginner Pokemon to use because you don't really have to be super hardcore about managing energy about Bastiodon. You just really need to know your type mashups and when to run or pivot out or realign with Bastiodon. That's what makes Bastiodon really annoying. Bastiodon, however, what makes Bastiodon really bad as well, and why I can't give it a higher rating than probably an 8. I think 8's too high too. I'm giving it that because in the overall meta, Bastiodon level 50 is able to flip negative matchups in the 2-to-1s such as Obstagoon and Vigoroth. So there is play with level 50 Bastiodon. Being able to flip your negative matchups is a good thing, especially in certain scenarios. Also, you're able to beat Azu in I believe you can beat Azu in the 1-0s, or I think it's the 1-0s are the ones. There's a scenario where you can beat Azu, but being able to flip negative matchups is always a plus, especially very relevant matchups. Now, like I said, another reason is it gets too hard. Like it has too strong of a losing matchup against counter users, against most of them in like 99% of scenarios, and against Mud Boys, as well as whatever is weak to you, like whatever resists. Like for example, Melmetal or Registeel, they resist Smackdown. So because Steel resists Rock and your Smackdowns are resisted, you will die. So Bastiodon, there is that thing. But like I said, ease of use, ability to create sack shield plays, and just for being in a super oppressive tank and having really strong matchups against, if you are able to align it properly and lock it in with its positive matchups, it's really annoying. And it's probably going to kill you. So that is Bastiodon. Anyways, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Again, Bastiodon is at level 40. The saving grace is that it's hard to find a level 50 Bastiodon with those IVs. Because as you see, a level 50 Bastiodon is at 0, 15, 14. Unless there's a fossil event, I haven't foreseen Bastiodons, unless you get it traded to you, that are spawning in the wild that have that IV spread. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to see these anytime soon because 1, it's hard to get candy for them, and 2, they're just rare unless there's a fossil event. Of course, you might find that one individual or that one battler or those crazy group of individuals that really want a level 50 Bastiodon. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.